morning and thank you for being part of us again. It is the second hour of the show. Quick discussion. Now we're heading into our first topic of discussion of the day. And today's first topic of discussion, we're going to be looking at how Uganda's financial position in the world is being stabilized, or how has it been stabilized amidst the crisis that we're actually ongoing. But there are a lot of works that do happen behind closed doors that you as a viewer or anyone part of the economy don't know of, and maybe you would at least want to get a picture of certain things that happen technically behind the closed doors, or things that are keeping the economy going harder and higher, even when some people are still feeling like things are not moving on well. And joining me this morning, I am joined by Esther Kajira, who is the PR from the Uganda Financial Intelligence Authority. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, John.
Okay, and if you're to help us understand, and the viewers out there, what does the Uganda Financial Intelligence Authority do, and how long has it been in place in the country?
Okay, thank you. The Uganda Financial Intelligence Authority is a government agency that was established in July 2014 after the enactment of the Anti-Money Laundering Act 2013.
Okay.
Yes, it came into force July 2014, and were established by in the Act, Section 18 of the Anti-Money Laundering Act.
Okay, and so I should believe it was established by Parliament, right?
Yes.
Yes, and of course, for all of you that don't know, it's a government agency that was published by the Parliament of Uganda. Now there will be, I think, you do the investigation preventing money laundering in the country and all that. How is it so far?
So far we have done a lot. Okay. First of all, we are charged with fighting money laundering and terrorism financing and proliferation financing.
Okay.
That is the weapons of mass destruction. We stop financing. We fight the financing of that.
Okay.
Yes. So we basically receive information, what we would call intelligence, from what we call accountable persons.
Okay.
And this we analyze it, correlate it, and then come out with intelligence that we share with the law enforcement agencies. And these are the ones that are charged with prosecution of the implicated culprits.
Okay. Yes. And when you look at money laundering in Uganda, by the way, it's not only in Uganda, but it's also a very big vice in the entire world scope, all the economies in the world at large. And you would definitely feel it is one of those vices that is actually preventing, or it is actually an illegal, if I'm to put it in that way. I don't know how legal it is, but I'll ask Madam Esther to help me if money laundering can be identified as legal. Back then in school, we used to identify to something called a social evil. Is money laundering, or if you can break it down for us, money laundering, if you're to break down the money laundering acts that are very that have actually been more famous in Uganda.
Okay, thank you. I think, money laundering for starters.
Yes.
Dirty money to become clean.
Not the practical washing.
Not the practical washing.
Okay.
Acquiring money or getting money that is from illegal activities, and you try to bring it into the financial system so that it looks clean.
Okay.
For instance, if a corrupt official gets this money and tries to bring it into the financial system, that is washing it.
Okay.
So we call that one money laundering.
It's more like someone gets money from the government and then puts it somewhere.
Yes.
Okay.
So we have stages of money laundering. The first one is you acquiring the money itself, and then you layering it, and then integrate it into the system. For instance, someone will acquire money, will get money from, say, sale of drugs, illegal drugs, and then you put it, you deposit it on the account, or you buy securities, or you buy an insurance policy. Okay. Then from there you start now, if you already have it on your account, you now start layering it, buying different, sending it out and bringing it back, buying small things. After some time, then you now start wherever you had layered it from and back into the system. And there you'll find somebody, maybe the money was acquired like 10 years ago, but through the system, the person is now reaping, and you think that this person really has been having so many, he has a loan, he has this, but actually it is the money that has been integrated into the system. And this one causes so many things, among others, inflation.
Okay.
Then, of course, there is the state security is compromised because people have money that they can use for anything. So it has a big implication to the economy of a country.
Okay.
Back to what you said, we had a risk assessment, and this is what we call national risk assessment in 2017, and we were trying to find out where our risk as a country lies high, which is the most income generating crime in Uganda.
Money laundering.
Yes.
Okay.
Because money laundering cannot happen until there is a predicate offense.
Okay.
For instance, there is corruption, there is fraud, there is illegal trafficking of humans, selling of illegal drugs. So those are predicate offenses. And money laundering cannot happen without a predicate offense.
Okay.
Now, in Uganda, we realize that corruption is the highest, followed by fraud, and then robbery and these others.
Okay.
But corruption is the highest in Uganda.
Okay. Last week, there was a report that was actually released that the Financial Intelligence Authority allied fears of Uganda being blacklisted by the Financial Action Task Force. What is that?
Okay. The Financial Action Task Force is an international body that is charged with setting standards, financial standards, in fighting money laundering and terrorism financing.
Okay.
So this organization, it has 40 recommendations that each country, each member country is supposed to implement.
Okay.
Now, when they carry out what they call mitigation of a country, they look at your laws, your anti-money laundering regime, and look at the laws, and look at the policies, look at how compliant as a country you are and how effective you are. Now, when they came to Uganda, they realized that we had deficiencies, strategic deficiencies that we needed to address. And from there, we came up with an action plan that was agreed upon between the Financial Action Task Force and Uganda as a country. And we are supposed to implement the action plan in a time frame that was in 2020 when we were put on the grey list, and we are supposed to implement the action up to, I think, this year. Of the COVID restrictions, some of the action plan activities did not take place. So we are being, of course, being that we did not meet the timelines, then we are being threatened that you did not, it's just like when you have an agreement with somebody, if it is not met, then there must be consequences. So that's why there's talk of blacklisting. We are on the grey list, and what that means is that we have deficiencies in our anti-money laundering and terrorism financing legal regime that we need to address for us to be able to meet the international standards that are required of each country.
Are there specific measures that they want you to put in place if they are not to blacklist us in any way?
Of course, those are the ones that are in the action plan. Of course, there are many, but some are legal. You need to amend some acts that to meet the international standards. Other than policy level, where the regulators and supervisors need to implement, and then as other accountable persons that need to work out certain things. Yeah, but we are on course. We had an interaction with them as a country, and we agreed on timelines, and we believe that we're on course. We will not be blacklisted.
Okay, and for the viewer out there to at least get a sneak peek of this, is that Uganda was put on the grey list, which features countries whose measures against money laundering and terrorism financing are not satisfactory as yet and need to upgrade. So at any one time, if we are to be blacklisted, then we have failed completely. You mentioned about money laundering being one of those key money generating platforms for most of the people who actually in public, who deal in public fraud and corruption. But if you're to break down, is that you've at least done to at least put this to an end, what are some of those that you're actually laying on board?
Okay, thank you. First of all, it is a new, to call it a crime in Uganda. Okay. So most people did not know that it was a crime. So we, as FIA, we had to come up with we have a mandate to carry out sensitization, public awareness, that people need to know the red flags, or how do I know that this is money laundering, which is done through public awareness. Then, of course, we needed to sensitize with accountable persons and register them, because we get information from accountable persons. These are the ones stipulated in the Anti-Money Laundering Act, and there are 15 categories of them. And these ones, they have financial institutions, what they call designated non-financial, the NFBPs that carry out activities that help people, individuals to hide their money. And these ones include maybe lawyers, accountants, and so forth. So those ones, we've been sensitizing them, we have registered them, and we think that we're on course. And then we have carried out risk assessments to see which entities or which sectors are more vulnerable, and then we come up with recommendations and then share them with our stakeholders in those sectors for them to be on the lookout and make sure that they are not used for money laundering.
Okay, yes. And according to the Financial Action Task Force, as of today, only Iran and North Korea are the countries on the blacklist, while there are 24 countries on the grey list. Now, if you hit the blacklist, then that means you've completely failed, and then money laundering has eaten you up completely. Then for Uganda being on the grey list, it means that there are some things that are supposed to be upgraded in terms of fighting financial crimes like money laundering. Now, let's get back to something else. I want Esther to at least also give us an insight of terrorism financing. So what is terrorism financing?
Terrorism financing is providing assistance to people or entities who carry out terrorism activities. Okay. We know that a terror activity cannot take place without some finance, even for movement, providing accommodation, providing food. So as an entity, we are charged with fighting the financing of these activities. Okay. Realize that the means that are used for money laundering are almost the same means that people use to finance terrorism. Although the sources are different. For money laundering, the source is an illegal source of funds. But for terrorism financing, some people could be earning their money legally, but they use it for illegal activities. So we are charged with fighting terrorism financing.
Okay. Yes. Now, let's also look at something to do with foreign money that comes into the country. Yeah. Is it also a sign of money laundering? Is there a perspective of the foreign money that comes in plenty into the country without any accountability being a sign of money laundering?
Not necessarily. It's not that every money that comes to the country is money laundering, but also there's that comes in which is laundered money. Okay. Yes, and from that the Act requires that if you're entering the country or going out, you need to declare cash equivalent to 30 million or its equivalent.
If you're moving out of the country.
If you're moving out of the country or coming into the country, there are forms that you're supposed to fill and declare. And on that form, we need to, what is the source, and then what is it going to be used for. So every person who is, every traveler is required to do that. Although we realize that some people have not been doing it, but it is a requirement by law that you declare.
What you have.
Yes, and in that we are trying to avoid bringing in laundered money. Because it is not right.
So, and also, I would want also to help me break these things down. I need to know the issue of money laundering so deep. I would want to know. I know it may not be as of today because we do not have that time. But if I happen to leave the country, like you've mentioned, and maybe declare I have 30 million or so, then return to the country with 60 million. Is that in any way a sign of money laundering?
Not really, but you need also to justify on how
where you got the other money.
Probably you're going for a business and you're coming back with profits, but you need also to declare
that I have a business out of the country.
Yes, and then it has to be, it has to be backed by evidence that actually you do this business. It is you maybe a consultant, you have this is your commission or this is your fees. We need we need to see that this is it's backed by evidence, not just saying that I did some business there.
All right. Now we're looking at stabilizing Uganda's financial position in the world. The economy is currently not in good shape as of now because we are seeing all the crisis that is happening. But how possible can this be for us to stabilize our financial position?
Okay, thank you. Of course, like you said, it is global that we are all affected almost the same way, inflation everywhere. But as a country, we need to keep in the standard, not because we are doing badly that we just allow in any money that comes in. And in that, as FIA and other stakeholders, we need to ensure that we have clean money that is entering and going out of the country to reduce compromising our integrity as a country. Because, you know, once our financial system is not good, then even investors will not come, even travelers, because you are on the blacklist. Remember when you're on the grey list, of FATF grey list, EU and UK, they put you on the blacklist. So any business that is coming from those countries, they first scrutinize your transaction before allowing it. So it takes more time than the normal. So we need to make sure to be on the lookout to ensure that we are not in that category, to help investors and all those people who are doing business out of this country, to enable them have a seamless business.
Now, after the break, I want you to help me at least highlight some of the 22 action plans that Uganda needs to work on to meet the international requirements against money laundering, and as well as the financial crimes in general, because I do believe you've set out some action plans. And if you can break them down for most of the viewers out there to at least get to understand the picture of where we are in position. So as of now, Uganda is currently on the grey list. Now, the grey list does not mean that we are in the dead zone. We are on the grey list and waiting for more of, as we are upgrading and trying to see that we continue preventing and fighting the vice of money laundering and terrorism financing and other financial crimes in the country. But then the countries that, like I said, that are so far on the blacklist, that is Iran and Korea, that is North Korea, and that is according to the list from the Financial Action Task Force in regards to that. We are still generally looking at how Uganda's economy can be stabilized, or how Uganda's financial position in the world is being stabilized, and how it has been stabilized so far, regardless of the economic hardships that we're actually facing. And after the break, we are looking at the action plans from the from the Uganda Financial Intelligence Authority, to at least give us just a brief breakdown of the action plans that are going to be laid on board to see that we prevent and avoid most of these particular cases that are actually growing high in Uganda. Stick around with me. Good morning. We are still here with SMB.